Intro voiceover. What if, in the middle of all the noise, all the pressure, and all the chaos of modern life, there existed a way to find peace that nothing could disturb? A way to transform not just how you live, but how you experience every moment. For centuries, the Stoics spoke about it. They believed that true strength comes not from control over others, but from control over yourself. Today, Peter Singer, one of the most profound ethical philosophers of our age, reminds us that transformation begins not in the world around you, but in the choices you make every single day. This is 12 Stoic Principles for Immediate Life Transformation. A guide to break through emotional noise, find calm in chaos, and awaken the power that already lives within you. Every great transformation begins with awareness, and awareness starts with understanding your mind. The Stoics didn't teach theories. They taught action. They taught that wisdom is not what you know, it's what you live. So in this journey, inspired by the moral clarity of Peter Singer and the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, we'll explore 12 principles that can reshape your inner world and change how you face life's challenges instantly. Because transformation doesn't take years. It takes a decision, a moment of truth, a choice to become unshakable. Let's begin. Control what you can. Accept what you can't. The Stoics taught one of the most liberating truths ever spoken. There are things you can control, and things you cannot. That's it. The boundary between peace and suffering lies right there. Peter Singer echoes this in his ethical philosophy, that our power lies not in changing the entire world, but in changing how we act within it. He teaches that moral progress begins with individual responsibility. A single person choosing to do the right thing, even when the world doesn't notice. When you realize this, something within you shifts. You stop fighting reality. You stop wasting energy on what's beyond your influence. The opinions of others, the outcomes you can't predict, the events you can't control. Instead, you turn inward. You begin to master the only realm you ever truly possess, yourself. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters." Peter Singer would say, "Your response defines your moral worth." So the next time life hits you hard, pause. Ask yourself, can I control this? If the answer is no, breathe, let it go. Focus instead on what you can control. Your choices, your reactions, your effort, your integrity. Because when you master your focus, you master your life. The world will still move in unpredictable ways, but inside, you'll remain centered, unshaken. Transformation begins not when you change your environment, but when you stop letting your environment change you. Embrace discomfort as your greatest teacher. Modern life trains us to avoid pain, to escape difficulty, to chase pleasure, to numb discomfort. But every philosopher worth remembering has said the same thing. Growth hides in discomfort. The Stoics welcomed hardship. To them, every obstacle was a test of character, a forge for the soul. Peter Singer expands on this idea by asking us to challenge the comfort zones of moral complacency. He reminds us that comfort often breeds apathy, that the easiest path is rarely the right one. To live a meaningful life, you must be willing to do what's difficult, to face the things that terrify you, to sit in silence with your pain and ask, what is this teaching me? Because every moment of discomfort is a message from life whispering, you're growing. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Peter Singer brings that same truth into our ethical lives, that by facing discomfort, we awaken empathy, courage, and moral clarity. So don't run from pain. Study it, feel it. Let it refine you. When you fail, learn. When you fall, rise stronger. When life closes a door, remember that the Stoic mind doesn't curse the door. It looks for the lesson behind it. If comfort keeps you stagnant, discomfort will evolve you. If pleasure keeps you asleep, pain will wake you. And when you can finally sit in the storm and smile, knowing it's shaping you, you've discovered the secret every Stoic lived by. Nothing is truly bad unless it makes you weaker inside. So let discomfort teach you. Let it sharpen your mind, harden your will, and awaken your inner discipline. Because every challenge is not an enemy. It's an invitation to rise. These first two principles lay the foundation for everything that follows. Control what you can. Embrace discomfort. Together they forge resilience, the quiet strength that separates those who crumble under pressure from those who stand tall no matter the storm. Peter Singer reminds us that transformation begins with responsibility, the courage to act rightly even when it hurts, the humility to face truth even when it stings, and that is where real power begins. Detach from the need for external validation. Every one of us at some point becomes a prisoner of other people's opinions. We crave approval. We chase likes. We seek validation from faces that will forget us tomorrow. But the Stoics, and Peter Singer in his ethical clarity, remind us that living by external applause is the fastest way to lose yourself. Seneca wrote, "He who seeks approval from others hands his freedom to strangers." Peter Singer might put it differently. The moral worth of your life does not depend on who notices your goodness, but on whether you choose what's right when no one is watching. We live in a world addicted to performance, and a world where image often overshadows integrity. But when you detach from the need to impress, you finally begin to express your true self. Every time you make a choice just to be accepted, you move one step further from authenticity. The Stoic path and Singer's moral philosophy demand something higher: self-respect. Ask yourself, would I still do this if no one saw? Would I still choose this if no one praised me for it? That's where character is built, in silence, away from the crowd. When you let go of validation, you find peace. When you stop performing, you begin living. When you detach from the opinions of others, you rediscover your own voice. Strong, calm, unshakable. Peter Singer often reminds us that living ethically isn't about being celebrated. It's about contributing meaningfully, acting rightly even when it costs you recognition. That's real freedom, so walk your path, do good quietly, and remember, the applause fades but integrity echoes forever. Master your desires before they master you. Desire, the invisible chain that holds humanity captive. We chase, we crave, we consume, always believing the next thing will complete us. But it never does. The Stoics called it the endless hunger of the mind. Peter Singer, in his moral philosophy, shows how unchecked desire blinds us, not only to wisdom but to compassion. The more we want, the less we see. Every advertisement, every promise of happiness whispers the same lie: you need more. But the Stoic knows the truth. You already have enough. To master desire is to reclaim power. Because when you no longer need everything, nothing can control you. Singer often warns that desire unchecked leads to ethical blindness. When our wants outweigh our principles, we compromise what truly matters. But when you practice restraint, when you choose moderation, your clarity returns. You stop being a slave to impulse. You start to live intentionally. Epictetus said, "Freedom is not achieved by satisfying desires, but by eliminating them." Peter Singer extends that idea. True freedom is moral clarity, the ability to act beyond selfish impulse, to choose purpose over pleasure. So pause before every craving. Ask, does this serve my growth or my greed? Does this align with who I want to be? Every moment of temptation is a mirror, reflecting the strength of your inner discipline. The Stoics didn't reject pleasure, they simply refused to be ruled by it. And that is the art of mastery. Not the absence of desire, but the wisdom to govern it. Because when your desires no longer dictate your direction, your spirit becomes unstoppable. You act not from hunger but from harmony. You no longer chase fulfillment, you embody it. Transform adversity into purpose, life will break you. That's not pessimism, that's truth. Every human being meets moments of loss, betrayal, fear, or failure. But the Stoics, and Peter Singer's moral reasoning, teach that pain is not punishment. It's preparation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." Singer might say it's not the suffering that defines us, but the meaning we create from it. Every hardship you endure carries a hidden opportunity to refine your compassion, deepen your strength, and awaken your clarity. Adversity exposes the truth of who you are. It burns away illusion. It forces you to see what truly matters. And when you respond to it with purpose, you transform pain into wisdom. Singer reminds us that even in moral struggle, even in ethical conflict, growth happens when we confront difficulty with courage, when we choose to act rightly in spite of pain. Your suffering can become your story. Your loss can become your lesson. Your darkness can become your discipline. Every time you survive a storm, you build an inner architecture of resilience, invisible but unbreakable. The Stoic warrior doesn't avoid suffering. He transforms it. He says, "Throw whatever you must into my fire. I will burn it into brilliance." And when you live this way, when every setback becomes fuel, every failure becomes wisdom, and every pain becomes purpose, then life no longer defeats you. It shapes you, because adversity is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of strength. In these three principles, detachment from validation, mastery over desire, and transformation of adversity, we begin to see the blueprint of the unshakable mind. Peter Singer's modern ethics meet Stoic timelessness in one truth. You don't find meaning by escaping pain, chasing pleasure, or seeking approval. You find meaning by choosing integrity when the world makes it hard. And when you live that way, you don't just transform your life, you elevate your soul. Live with purpose, not impulse. The difference between a fulfilled life and an empty one is direction. The Stoics taught that to live without purpose is to drift endlessly, pulled by impulse, emotion, and distraction. Peter Singer reminds us that ethical life begins when you choose to live intentionally, when you align your actions with something larger than your own comfort. Most people wake up reacting to messages, to routines, to noise. But the Stoic wakes up responding, guided by purpose, not by impulse. Singer's philosophy invites us to ask one question every morning. Will my choices today contribute to something meaningful? Because purpose isn't discovered in grand dreams. It's created in daily decisions. It's found in the way you treat others, in the discipline you build, and in the values you protect when nobody's watching. When you live with purpose, your energy changes. You stop chasing distraction, you start pursuing meaning. You stop asking, "What do I want now?" and start asking, "What would make this day worth remembering?" Every impulse wants to drag you into momentary pleasure, scrolling endlessly, consuming more, reacting emotionally. But every time you pause, reflect, and choose alignment over impulse, you reclaim your power. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Peter Singer echoes the same sentiment. Live your ethics. Don't just speak them. Purpose is not a concept. It's a practice. It's how you carry yourself in silence. It's how you respond when things fall apart. It's how you give, serve, and stand firm even when it costs you comfort. So stop living reactively. Design your life consciously. Because when you find your purpose, no storm, no critic, no failure can pull you off your path. You become grounded, clear, unstoppable. Cultivate compassion and moral clarity. In a world obsessed with self-interest, compassion becomes an act of rebellion. The Stoics never saw compassion as weakness. They saw it as strength, born from understanding how deeply connected we all are. Peter Singer's life work, rooted in effective altruism, takes that idea to its highest form, reminding us that morality isn't just personal discipline, it's collective responsibility. You cannot be truly wise without being kind. You cannot be truly strong without being humane. Singer asks us to expand our circle of empathy, beyond self, beyond tribe, beyond comfort. He reminds us that our moral worth is not measured by how loudly we speak, but by how much good we quietly do. To be stoic is to remain calm in chaos. To be moral, as Singer teaches, is to act rightly within that calm. When these two merge, you become a force of quiet transformation. Every act of compassion, no matter how small, reshapes the world. A kind word to a stranger, forgiveness to someone who wronged you, patience when anger tempts you. These are not weaknesses. They are victories of the soul. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Men exist for the sake of one another. Teach them or bear with them." Singer builds on this. We exist not merely to live well, but to help others live better. When you cultivate compassion, you begin to see life through a higher lens. The boundaries between me and them fade away. The world stops being a battlefield and becomes a shared journey. And when compassion meets clarity, when empathy meets wisdom, you evolve into something rare. A person who not only understands life, but elevates it for others. The Stoic path to transformation. You've walked through 7 of 12 Stoic principles. Through control, discomfort, detachment, mastery, adversity, purpose, and compassion. Each one is a stone on the path toward transformation. But transformation isn't about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you truly are beneath fear, noise, and chaos. Peter Singer's philosophy and the ancient Stoic code both whisper the same truth. You are responsible for your own awakening. No one will do it for you. No one will save you. The world will test you, tempt you, and try to make you forget your power. But if you remember these principles, you will rise every single time. Control what you can. Embrace discomfort. Detach from validation. Master desire. Transform adversity. Live with purpose. Cultivate compassion. This is how you build an unshakable life. This is how you walk with quiet strength in a noisy world. And as Peter Singer reminds us, your greatest transformation will not be measured by what you achieve, but by the goodness you bring into the lives of others. So, begin today. Live consciously. Act with intention. Let your choices reflect the person you wish humanity to become. Because in the end, the Stoic path is not about escaping the world. It's about mastering yourself so deeply that you can heal the world through the way you live.